Okay, so we've got Heidi here at the shop. What's up? No. All right, so we've got Heidi here at the shop, but we have some special guests here today. Hang on. And that is, we have Tom on the right and his daughter, no, it's his wife, Kathy. And they've just come here from Florida. And what did you...
Indiana.
Oh, you're still... Okay, well, they're back and forth between Indiana and Florida. It's not my responsibility to know everybody's schedule.
Right.
All right, so what car are you here to pick up today?
A 1963 Corvette Stingray.
Yeah. What do you think? That you don't really like the car, do you?
No, it's been a friend of mine for over 40 years.
Over 40 years. So what year did you get the car and why did you buy it?
I bought it in 1986, and I recognized that the Corvette, especially the first year mid-years, were really a highly collectible car, I felt.
Right.
So I bought it.
And so was it... Now you know that we nicknamed your car. What was the nickname?
The same nickname I gave it, the Turd.
The Turd. Oh, so you had already called it the Turd.
Yeah.
Okay, so who made the decision to paint your car that was lumpy in sort of a dull brown?
Don't know, I bought it that way.
You bought it that way?
Yeah.
I can't believe anyone would buy a Corvette that was that ugly. Even I wouldn't have bought that car. All right, so...
Just had a bad haircut, that's all.
Oh, man, that was bad. But the bodywork under that brown was horrible. I mean, that was some of the worst bodywork I'd ever seen in my life. Okay, so you bought it that way. Now, when you brought it to us, it hadn't been running in a long time. What's the quick story on why it wasn't running?
Well, I'd taken the engine out. I actually drove it when I bought it, but then I wanted to restore it myself.
Okay.
Then it's back to the old time and money thing.
Yeah, and when did you start tearing it apart? What year was that?
1992.
92. Okay, so 1992 was a lot of years ago.
Right.
So you started tearing it apart, and then when did you bring it here? Do you remember what month it was? I don't remember the month.
February 2020.
So it was just over a year ago. Basically, you brought it here when COVID was...
Right before COVID.
Yeah.
Yes, when the scamdemic was just starting.
You're right.
Okay, and so all right. So I want to. So Tom brought me a very cool gift. Now, for those of you who don't know what this is, there are two Bibles that exist in the world. Number one is the basically the story of Jesus Christ. Right, the New Testament is the Bible. The second Bible, if you're a Corvette guy, is Nolan Adams' book. So this is Nolan Adams. This is the Corvette Restoration Guide, a very nice note that Tom did. But here, and I'm going to see if any of you who are watching know whose signature that is, because that is a very cool signature. So who is that man? What? Don't use his name, but what is he to the Corvette?
The father of the Corvette.
Yeah, he really is, right? Now, let me ask you, though, do you know, was he responsible for the styling or the performance?
I think the styling.
Nope. Bill Mitchell was responsible for the styling. He was responsible for the performance of the Corvette and kept the Corvette as America's sport car. All right, and so then here's the other thing Tom and Kathy brought by. So this is lots and lots of alcohol. So we're going to have to, at the end of the day, see what that stuff tastes like. All right, so, but now we're going to get through this fairly quickly, folks, but there's a really interesting story about this car. Tom, when you came to me, what did you ask me to do with your Corvette? What was the original, problem statement?
Restore it.
But for how much?
Oh, I was thinking around 70,000.
Yeah, and what did I tell you was possible for 70 based on the condition and completeness of your car?
Not much.
Yeah, it just, your car, I don't know what we ended up spending on parts, but I'm guessing probably 40-ish, 40, 45. And at the end of the day, you can't build a car like yours, unless we're building for minimum wage. Well, heck, even by modern minimum wage, you couldn't do that, right? Because, and so basically, we agreed to not build the car, and then what did you do at that point?
We're going to sell it.
Sell it, but who did you sell it to?
You.
Yep, and you sold it to me real cheap, right?
Almost giveaway.
Yeah, and let me tell you, was that a good day for you or a bad day?
It wasn't a good day.
Yeah, and so on one hand, I had this Corvette that had just been sold to me dirt cheap. And on the other hand, I didn't sleep very well at night. And that was not because of, the state of our nation, which is what keeps me up a lot now. That wasn't because of muscle aches. That was because I knew that Tom loved the car and he had it for decades. And I knew that this was something that if I didn't get it back to him, probably neither of us were going to really get anything out of that moment. So, Tom, I called you up, and what did I suggest that we try to do?
We
Do you remember? We increased the budget a bit.
increased the budget.
And I...
The best phone call I ever got from Dan Short was we tested the body work with a little sander, and he says there might be a possibility I might be able to paint this thing.
Yeah. So the good news was the fundamental underpinnings of the car were in reasonably good shape, and it was only the animals that had gotten to it. And when I say animals, I'm talking about at the body shop and the mechanic shop that had done, all the damage. So we agreed to improve the budget a bit, and then we also agreed not to do every single thing, right? We agreed to, we were going to try and make it like, say, a 90%er rather than a 97%er, right? All right, so did you add a few things to the list as we went along? Because, folks, let me explain something. This is what guys do, and I was just complimenting Kathy that women tend to be, hey, this is what I said and this is what I'm going to do. Guys aren't like that. Guys add crap. So what did you add, Tom, to the build of the car?
I wanted disc brakes.
Four-wheel disc brakes.
Four-wheel disc brakes. And I wanted the Kelsey Hayes wheels on it.
Kelsey Hayes wheels. What about special tires?
And, of course,
Oh, yeah. The gold line tires. What else? Come on, there's more.
Power steering.
Power brakes. Power steering.
Yeah.
Okay. And so in the end, and by the way, we went back to all visually the 340 configuration.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got a pretty darn nice car there. Now, you haven't seen it yet, have you?
No.
Would you like to see it?
Oh, yeah. That's what I've been waiting for.
Okay, now, I'm going to admit that you have a part of your car that I am coveting quite, and I'm not asking for it, and the reason I say that is this guy'd probably give it to me, and I'm not going to take it. All right, so I have on your car for the first time ever seen a 63 Corvette saddle steering wheel, an original saddle steering wheel. Now, yours has got 10,000 micro cracks through it and one good crack, but I would take an original saddle steering wheel over a reproduction because the reproductions don't look correct at all. And yours is correct. So guess what I now have to find for my 63 gold car? Yes, I am on the hunt for a 63 saddle original steering wheel.
Well, two guys looking now.
Yeah, okay, good, yeah. So all right, so Tom and Kathy, this is that moment where we get up. Now, let me ask you one more question before we go. The budget. We stayed reasonably close to the end state. You added a few things, but have you been happy overall with communication, the build, and what's been going on?
I even put it in writing for you, Dan.
Okay, all right, so far so good, but you still haven't seen your car.
Nope.
So, let's go see if Tom and Kathy actually like the car that they brought to us now about 14 months ago. And I will tell you that COVID has caused lots and lots of issues between finding employees, finding parts. So even getting this done in 14 months was a bit of a challenge. Hang on. Okay, so Heidi is definitely interested in seeing the car. All right, so come on out. And remember, you've never seen this car correct because it's an original saddle car.
Oh, my gosh.
And here is your saddle 1963 Corvette. What do you think?
Beautiful.
Is that the car that you wanted?
Huh? Wow, what a beautiful car.
Now, did it ever look like this since the day you've owned it? Has it ever been anything like this?
I got the pictures of the way it used to look. That is beautiful.
Okay.
You said you could enhance that saddle tan. You certainly did.
Yeah.
And I don't usually hug and kiss men, but I feel like doing it now.
Okay. So.
But I'll spare you the embarrassment.
All right. So what do you think of the effect of it with, you know, we've got the gold line. I mean, tell me that the gold doesn't work well with the gold. The gold line tires, of course, the tan convertible top. We even found a really cool thing for you, a Phantom Works Florida license plate.
I was hoping I got that.
And the interior. Again, only original. Oh, wait a second. There was one more special option you asked us for.
Seatbelts.
Seatbelts. Didn't I tell you that they were ridiculously expensive?
Yes.
You wanted them anyway. Those are original 3-panel, correct Corvette seatbelts. So,
Can you believe that's the same car that sat in our barn for 30-some years?
Beautiful, so beautiful.
so Kathy, were you expecting the car to look less nice, about like this, or more nice? Less nice?
Definitely.
It was a tough car to get this clean. I mean, when you look at the car, the lines on it now are really quite clean. And if you look, the gaps are good. I mean, when you look at C2 Corvettes, rarely will you see gaps that come out quite this nice. Okay, I'm going to let you do the honor. Why don't you pull the...
When people see me in this, they're going to think I'm a politician.
All right, pull the hood release and let's take a look at your motor, because you remember what configuration you have?
Right, 340.
The 340.
Look at the carpet. I love that. Stingray.
All right, so now there was a 63 Dual Master available, but that was a Kelsey Hayes, and that was about a $30,000 option today, so we went with a reproduction, okay? Notice you've got the 340 air cleaner, valve covers, the bypass, water pump. Yep, the correct surge tank, all the correct accessories in the engine bay. Notice the bottom of the hood with the correct lines, delineating the gold from the black. Yeah, and Tom was just mentioning the carpets. Take a look at this. Of course, the courtesy light is on, and you can see the gauges have been redone. The carpets are gorgeous, and the door.
Look at that line.
Yeah, just take a look at the lines of the car. And that was our challenge with this car, because the body was in very, very rough shape. So far so good? All right, so folks, I'm going to spend a few minutes with them. We'll come back in about 10 minutes, and then we're going to send Tom and Kathy out. Now, what was the last year you two drove this car around the block?
She never drove it. I drove with a neighbor kid in 1986.
1986. Now, not to pick on you or anything, but let's just do some math here. 86, hang on, 21 plus 14, so that was 35 years ago. We were all a little bit younger 35 years ago, weren't we? So this is your first time getting back into that car. You were what, you were probably in your 30s, late 30s, the last time you drove this car, weren't you?
Yeah.
34.
Yeah.
34.
Well, 34. 34 years old. So 34 years old to today since Tom's been in this car going down the road. So now here's the thing I got to warn you, Kathy. Women are going to be all over him. So just make sure you're in the car with him, because you don't want this wild man running around Florida. It is. All right. So folks, stay tuned. We're gonna get Tom and Kathy looking at a few other things and in the car, and then we will be right back with you. All right. So we've just spent about half an hour. We've folded and unfolded the top. We've looked at the radio and some of the features. So what do you think? Overall, is it?
Everything works fine, and it's beautiful.
Okay. So here's the big question. You've now seen it, and I'm going to confess to you, Tom's already heard the motor run, but do you regret doing this project? Because a lot of people get what's called buyer's remorse, right? Because you get the thing that you wanted. But is there any regret right now? Are you excited about?
It has exceeded my expectations.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
So are you ready to get this? Because I know you're moving to Florida, because you're moving to one of the free states. You're moving away from so just like in 1861, there were free states and there were slave states, and effectively we've got the same thing today, right? So there are free states, and Florida's one of the free states. Unfortunately, I live in Virginia, which is one of the not free states. So I'm happy for you that you're getting away from my state and getting away from where we are. And getting to one of the beautiful free states in the United States of America. So we're in just a minute. I was gonna ask you to put Kathy into the car, and we're gonna close the hood. But I think you've seen pretty much all the features of the car.
Simply beautiful.
Okay, good. So what would you have done now that we've finished the car and we added the correct seat belts, we added the wheels and tires. Of course, the big decision was the color, because we debated the color for a while, right? But you went back with the original. This is what the car was the day it was produced, brand new. So it was an original tan.
The interior was tan, the exterior was the dark blue.
Oh, this was a dark blue car. Okay, I was thinking this was a tan. I remember it was a tan interior. Okay, so I stand corrected on that.
That's right.
So then you chose.
I painted dark blue anyway.
Okay, yeah, I was never a fan of the dark blue. I do like the light blue behind you, but I was never a fan of the dark blue. So now that we've gone back pretty much original, right down to shields and air cleaner and valve covers and exhaust manifolds and paint schemes, with the exception of we've changed a number on the, we should have a slightly different code on the data plate. But what would you have done different now that you've had a year to think about this and you're here looking at the car? What would you have done differently?
Absolutely nothing. I don't think I'd do anything different.
Okay.
I know, it's so gorgeous, beautiful.
So is he in the doghouse for spending this money on the car?
No.
Okay, so you're okay with it?
I preached to her
Yes,
time and
so-
time. You're putting money into something you probably get your money out of.
Well, and I got to tell you, a car like this, you'd come very close, and most people don't. When they put money into a car, they don't. But I think you'd do quite well on this car, because it's really in nice shape.
If you don't get it all, it's the fun factor.
Yep, there you go. And that's really what it's all about, right? Is that you're building yourself a memory. And remember, you and I were much younger men when this car came into your life.
The golden years.
There you go. All right, so at this point, I'll get the hood for you. You get the door for Miss Kathy. And I think it's time for you guys to go start enjoying a road trip. Okay, and you get to wear those brand new seat belts. And those are, let me tell you, there's very few 63 Corvettes sporting seat belts that are that nice. Do you remember how to adjust that? Go ahead and, yep, there you go. Pull it and flip it. All right, Tom, I'll get your hood, and we've talked about how to open and close hoods. And I'm a big proponent of, can you do me a favor, push your handle in all the way? Well, I don't know if your handles, your hood release handle is pushed all the way in. Okay, so we good? And click. And that's how you close a 63 Corvette hood. Never with a slam. All right, so remember we talked the different ways to start it. So go ahead and give your Corvette a start. And then it is time for you guys to start hitting the road. Now, if you got some sense of navigation, you know how to get back here, right?
Oh, yeah, I should get my purse and my phone.
You need your purse? I'll grab it for you.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead and fire your car up. All right, I will be right back. Anything else you need besides your purse? All right, so Tom and Kathy have been out. They've just visited Dumar's, about the oldest restaurant, I think, in Norfolk, the inventor of the waffle cone. Very cool drive up, right? So how much fun did you guys have cruising around town? Did you meet anyone? Did you talk to anyone about your car?
Yeah, everybody's waving.
Head turn.
What
One
What
guy
year
says,
is that?
"What year is that?" I
That's
said,
65.
I said, "It's 63. You want to go for pig slips?" I definitely does.
Okay, well, you know, if you want to drag race, then do it on your own damn time. Once the car is signed for and gotten out of here. But this car is eventually going to make its way to Florida, right? And what do you think? Will this be a fun car to have in Florida?
I think so.
Yeah, I think you're going to have a blast in it. So any last thoughts on what does it mean to you to have this car done? Because it's been sitting in your garage for how many years?
Almost 40 years.
Almost 40 years. So what is it like after 40 years having that car?
It's almost indescribable because it's finally done.
It's better than expected.
Better than expected. And so if you knew 10 years ago what you know now, would you have done this 10 years ago?
Oh yeah.
Should have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm delighted for you guys because I think the car came out great. Very few cars go through as big a transformation as this one, starting out nicknamed the Turd because it was so awful, it was so ugly, and quite honestly, turning into a gold with saddle interior Corvette Roadster. I don't know. You could argue that there's a more beautiful car in the world, but you'd have a hard time figuring out what it is, right?
Right.
Okay.
You're right.
All right. So, Tom, Kathy, it's been
Thank you so much for
Walking
doing
us
it,
through
for the
this.
experience.
it's been a pleasure. And let me tell you, this guy, in all honesty, he sort of stole my heart when I found out how much he loved the car, and then it became a personal commitment on my side to see if we could get him his car as close to a budget that met your needs, and yet we survived it. You know what I mean? So in the end, I mentioned to you a contract is only a good contract if both parties are happy. Are you happy?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Tom, I'm delighted. So God bless. Godspeed to both of you. Have more fun in this car than you should. Try not to get arrested, But look, and I'm just going to say, Daniel Commode looks great, outstanding. Jack Ryan, thanks you so much for your kind words. Says we did an awesome job. We got Tony from Goldsboro. We've got Darlo. Darlo, you got to tell me what country you're from when you put that on there. Charles, awesome. Heath Davidson, thank you. Best shop in the business. Only place I would go. All right, guys, thank you so much. It's been an awesome build for us. Audrey, hasn't this been a fun build overall?
It has. They've been super awesome today. They
Yes.
had so much fun.
Well, not today. They've been awesome for the last year. Because
For the year, but I got to meet them today.
Audrey, don't we have some customers that just suck?
That is the nicest way to put that.
And isn't it hard dealing with customers that suck?
It's also the nicest way to put that.
Thank you. Amazing. You guys have been great, and that's one of the reasons that the car came out so great. So, folks, God bless, and we will see you all later. Oh, Ainer from Scotland, how are you?